What's up, everyone? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to be bringing you another season preview and prediction, and today we're going to be doing the Miami Heat's 2020-2021 season preview and prediction. So without further ado, let's get into it. Looking at their 2019-20 recap, they moved on from Hassan Whiteside, which allowed Bam Adebayo to get more minutes, and he developed into an all-star this year. I don't know if he developed, more so he got more opportunity, so he showed that he can be an all-star caliber player. But it was definitely a interesting development, and it was awesome to see him turn into an all-star. They also signed Jimmy Butler from the 76ers. He was a free agent. They did a sign-and trade with Josh Richardson, who moved to the Sixers, and they also got great contributions from a bunch of rookies, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and Kendrick Nunn. I don't know if Nunn is a rookie. I don't know if Duncan Robinson is considered a rookie, but this was like his first year really playing. And yeah, they ended up upsetting Miami in the Eastern Conference semifinals in 6 games and beat the Celtics in 6 games and ended up going to the NBA Finals, which they ended up losing in 6 games to the Los Angeles Lakers. But it was an incredible playoff run, and they did a lot better than a lot of people expected them to do. So it was definitely a good season for them and one they could build upon. And yeah, let's look at what they did in this offseason to get better and improve on that finals appearance run. And the first thing they did is they drafted Precious Achiuwa 20th overall from Memphis. And I really like that draft pick. You could just see it. The fit is perfect. He's exactly, I don't want to say Bam-esque, because Bam is like one of the few players in the league who can guard 1 through 5, is a good passer, ball handler, and fluid athlete as a center. But Precious definitely shows those signs, and at the very least, Precious is going to be a very good switchable defender and athletic finisher on the other end. And if he could develop more to that, that'd be great. But he has a very good foundation for this team. So yeah, I see this pick being really good, and Miami has one of the best young player development systems in the league. As you could see, I'll go further down, but they have a lot of rookies who are major contributors for them, or young players who are major contributors. So I think Precious Achiuwa went to the perfect situation, and I think this is a home run pick for them, kind of. Like, I could see him being their backup center to maybe playing next to Bam at some point if one of them can become a shooter. And I could see him being there for 10 plus years. I think he's going to be a really good player for them. Other players they signed, Avery Bradley, they signed from the Los Angeles Lakers. He was a free agent, and I think it was a pretty good signing. They needed to replace some of the minutes that Jay Crowder was taking, and he's gonna do that okay. He's really good on defense, so that's gonna fit their identity. Okay shooter. He's gonna get a lot of open shots with them, so I think he'll be an okay addition. Just kind of gives them good backup shooting guard minutes, can play good defense against opposing teams' point guards. He's actually a really good on-ball defender, so I think it does add more versatility to this team, because if anything, that was the one thing they lacked, a really good guard on-ball defender last season. So I think he could help them with that. And they also signed Mo Harkless, but that's not a huge deal. Another player, Jay Crowder, these are players that are leaving them in free agency. Jay Crowder, who signed with the Phoenix Suns, and this was kind of tough. I really like Jay Crowder on this team. He just fit their culture super well. He shot the 3 ball really well for them. He's an up and down 3-point shooter. Like, you don't want to call him like a great 3-point shooter because he's definitely streaky, but he's confident in his shot, plays really good defense, plays really hard. Yeah, he's just always there for the fight. I feel like, I know that's a cliche thing to say, but he's just always there for it. He's not scared to take a big shot. He's gonna guard your best defender, and he's not scared to do so. So I really like Jay Crowder. I think he's a winning type player, and he did a lot for them last year in that finals run. So definitely a tough loss, but I think they can make up with the young pieces they have and some of the veterans they have on this roster. And then they let Derrick Jones Jr. sign with the Portland Trailblazers. And I think this was a rare instance where I think letting him go was the best thing, because it helped the Blazers. And as much as I liked Derrick Jones Jr. on his team, he only played limited minutes. He was more of like a luxury to have. Like, you could play him his 10, 15 minutes a game. He gives you a lot of athleticism and really good defense in those 10 minutes. but he wasn't like a major contributor for this team. And it was just one of those guys that letting him walk wasn't the biggest deal. But I think he's going to make a real impact on Portland. So I think it was a good signing for them, and it's okay that they let him walk. So yeah, let's get into who's staying on this roster. They have Kendrick Nunn, who I believe came in third or second place in Rookie of the Year voting. He had a really good rookie year. He averaged 15 points a game, and he was an undrafted rookie. Yeah, he just played really well. He came onto the scene averaging like 20 points a game. I'm not as high as him as most. He's having a rough second year, and if you just watch the bubble, he was not very good, like at all, really. And I think his numbers are starting to come back down to earth from what we initially thought he could be. I just see him more as like a backup, like spark plug type player. Very bad on defense. Usually just gets killed on screens. Like any screen is just gonna. He's not good at getting around them. Like he just gets completely clogged by them, and then it allows for the opposing team to create off of that. Yeah, really bad on-ball defender. And offensively, he's an inconsistent shooter. He didn't shoot well in the bubble, and he has a tendency to kind of take over the offense when he comes in. I still like him as like an off-the-bench scorer, and you're paying him the minimum contract, so he's definitely worth it. And they didn't draft him; he was undrafted. So to just get a player who's in the league and a rotation player who's undrafted, that's just a good pickup for them. So he's still going to be useful, and his value is still high for what he is. Another player, Kelly Olynyk, he's really good for them. Kind of a stretch big. He didn't play a lot of minutes until Bam was injured, but he's really good in the minutes he plays, and he had a few really good performances in the finals. He's another one of those players like Jay Crowder who's just not scared of the moment. Like he's not scared to take difficult shots. He has confidence in his jump shot, and he has a really good three-point shot. Just a really crafty offensive player. He's pretty good at scoring inside as well. Pretty good at reading defenses. He can find the open guy, make pretty nice passes. He's just actually a pretty good offensive player. Defensively, he's not great. A little slow-footed. Can get taken advantage of sometimes against guards and quick bigs. But offensively, he's a really nice player to have. Spreads the floor for you. Can make good passes. Crafty inside, just a nice piece to have. So looking to the next player, Andre Iguodala, who was traded with Jay Crowder midway through last season. And he's kind of tough because he's making like $15 million a year. They signed him to a 2-year, $30 million extension. And he's impactful. Like he plays good defense. He can handle the ball for you. He can make the right pass. He's just like been in a lot of tense situations from like the Warriors and just his long career. So he's going to help you win games, and he's a winning type player. It's just tough to pay him $15 million because he's definitely regressed from what he used to be. But I think he can, for the most part, like still be a good defender, a good passer, decent shooter. He shot under 30% last year. It's very inconsistent, but he has confidence in it and he takes it. So I think he'll still be fine. I think he'll be good for this team. And then another big, Myers Leonard, another stretch big for them. Not as skilled as Kelly Olynyk, mostly just a like pick and pop type guy. Can't really create for himself very much. He's a little better defensively in the sense that he can guard opposing bigs better. He's just a bigger dude, pretty good like in post defense and a pretty good shot blocker, but very limited. He can't guard in the perimeter, and offensively, he's mostly just a pick and pop guy, not a great creator, like I said, not great at passing. Okay inside scorer, but he's definitely a backup center, and he plays that role well. He's making a lot of money right now, but it's a 1-year deal. Basically, it's technically 2, but it's a team option after the second. So if there's a big free agent, they can cut that contract short. But for now, he's a good backup center for them. So yeah, looking at some of the young players on this team, Tyler Hero, who had a really good bubble, had one really big game against the Celtics, had a good series against the Celtics, and just showed a lot of signs that he could be better than what he initially was projected to be. Has a lot of confidence in his shot. Once again, one of these type players that aren't scared of the moment. Yeah, he's just a really good shooter. Pretty good at creating for himself. Like good at getting to the basket and finishing in a lot of different ways. decent passer. He could grow there, and I could see him growing there. Like, he seems to understand the game pretty well, and he seems to be working at his craft. So I could see him being an actual, like, guy you can run your offense through at some point in his career. And yeah, I really like Hero. I think he could be a 20 plus per game scorer and average like 6 to 7 assists a game. I think he's really good. He has a good size too. He's 6'6", so if he could get stronger, I think he could actually be pretty good on defense, because right now some teams do take advantage of him defensively, and I think he could get better on that end. So yeah, I think he's definitely good right now, and I could see him getting a lot better in the future. I think he's probably the best young player on this team, just pure like potential moving forward, because Bam's kind of already realizing his potential. And next thing I'm going to get into, I feel like is already at his peak, Duncan Robinson. He's just a really good three-point shooter. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Just so dangerous off the catch. Like, there's no way of stopping him. If he attempts a three, you did bad on defense. The only way to play good defense on Duncan Robinson is not allow him to catch the ball and shoot the ball. If he gets the shot in the air, there's like a very good chance the shot is going in. Like, they want him to take 12 shots a night. If you allow him to take 12 shots a night, that's bad defense. Even if he only made 3 of them, that's bad defense, because on any given night, he can make like 8 of those. He's just such a dangerous player, and for the money he's making, like $1.6 million, it's just such a good contract. He's so valuable for that. Like, he just creates so much gravity, and you have to have a defender glued on him at all times, so you're always going to have a 4-on-4. Yeah, he's just so dangerous. Can heat up at any moment too. Just, I love that player. Defensively, he does get abused sometimes just because he's skinny, not super athletic, but he's not like most shooters where they're smaller. He's at least 6'8", 6'7", so he's not going to get completely killed on that end, but I definitely saw it in the playoffs. Teams would hunt that matchup and try to get him on their best defender one-on-one, or best offensive player one-on-one. So that's definitely going to be something he has to work at, being able to switch on to better guys and just get better defensively. But offensively, he's one of the best shooters in the league. And yeah, just great great shooter. Moving on to Goran Dragic. He had a really good playoffs for them. Just a really crafty scorer inside, crafty finisher, pretty good three-point shooter, just very smart with the ball. Yeah, he came off the bench for them during the regular season, and Kendrick Nunn started, but then when Kendrick Nunn got COVID during the bubble, Dragic started, and Dragic was having one of the best like runs of his careers. He ended up getting injured in the finals, which sucked, but yeah, he's definitely getting up there in age, and with that injury, I'm scared of how much he can contribute. Like, I think that bubble run was a little bit of like lightning in a bottle. Like, I don't see him being that for an entire 82-game season. I guess 72-game season this year, but yeah, I still think he'll be useful for them. And on the contract he's on, he's definitely useful. It's like a 1 year, similar to Myers Leonard, where it's like a 1 year. It's technically 2 years, but the second year is a team option. So if they really didn't want to pay him that, they could just not pay him that money. But yeah, I think he's super good for them. I think he's coming off the bench now, so off the bench he's able to run the offense and carry the load offensively, and he's good defensively too. Like, he's just super smart and crafty, and he's a veteran. He's been in the league forever, so yeah, just a good piece for them. Yeah, so looking at the stars on this team, Bam Adebayo, who had a really good 2019-20 season. Really showed that he is an all-star caliber player, and he's, once again, this is one of my favorite teams to watch, and he's one of my favorite players. He's just cool because he's a center, but he's so fluid. Like, Jokic is a fluid center, right? But the way he dribbles, it's still like a center dribbling the ball up. Bam Adebayo at times looks like he's a wing, but he's in a center's body. Like, he's so athletic and driving to the rim. He just doesn't look like a big man sometimes. He looks like a very switchable wing, and that's kind of what he is. He's just a really big switchable wing. He can really guard 1 through 5, really great rim protector. Defensively, he's one of the best players in the league. He can step out on guards. He can battle bigs in the post. Like, one of the best post defenders in the league. Just can really switch on 1 through 5 and play each position efficiently. And then offensively, he can take bigger guys off the dribble. He can post up against smaller guys. He's a really good passer. You can run things through him. Like I said multiple times on this channel, I love bigs who can pass, because then you can do things like handoffs. He can dribble up the court for you, and then you have multiple shooters running around him. You can post him up and like high post situations. There's just so much you can do when your big can pass, because then you have skilled guys all around him. So I really like Bam Adebayo. I think he's one of the best players in the league, probably top 20 guy, and his impact on offensive defense is just so big, and I could see him. I don't know if he'll ever be a top 10 player, because I don't think he'll ever be like a 25 plus per game scorer. I could see him hitting 20, and like that's it, like low 20s, high teens, I think, but that's still really good for what he brings. And he could be a triple double threat at some point in his career, like averaging a triple double. He's already is one, so I really like Bam, and he's a great piece for them. I think he got his max. Yeah, he got a max contract, so they have him for the next 4 or 5 years. So yeah, looking good for the Heat. And then the last player, Jimmy Butler, who I'm not like similar to Dragic. There's no way he's going to be that player he was in the playoffs for them throughout an 82-game season. He was shooting really good from three. He was averaging like 27 points a game, I think, like something ridiculous like that. And he was just looked like a top 10 player. I think he's like a top 15 player. He's really good defensively, really tough, like attitude, and just a grinder. Offensively, he's super good at getting to the rim, super good at finishing through contact and getting fouled. That's like one thing he's great at, getting to the line and getting a lot of shots, and he's a good free throw shooter. So yeah, I think he could definitely be the best player on a championship team, but it has to be a team like this where there's a ton of talent around him, and he has like a clear number two who's very good, and then offensive pieces around him who can make up for his lack of shooting. Yeah, he's just not a good three-point shooter, and it's not consistent. He was a good three-point shooter in the bubble, but I just don't see that continuing. He shot 24% from three during the regular season. But I still really like Jimmy, and he's good with the ball in his hands. He makes the right play. He's a good passer. Yeah, just the only thing is shooting, but he's going to have the ball in his hands most of the time, and this is one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league, so they obviously don't need him to be a shooter. So yeah, let's get into what I think this team could be. I have super high hopes for this team. They've gone off to kind of a slow start, but I still think this team has one of the best coaches in the league. It's very deep and versatile. That's something that like a lot of teams are deep, but they're not really versatile, and this team is. They just have a lot of guys who can do different things for you. And yeah, I think their shooting and depth will get them through the regular season with a good record, and then how good they are on defense with their great coaching and how adaptable they are. I think they're a really good playoff team too. And yeah, I see this team competing for the finals again, and I could see them making the finals in the East. So yeah, that's what I think of the Miami Heat. I think I put them as the 2 seed in the East in my preseason prediction. I could see them being like the 4 seed, but I still think they'll be right up there with all the teams in the East. So yeah, let me know what you think about them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.